Hello and welcome to the channel. President of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has slammed the Tinubu-led federal government over the planned palliatives rollout, as well as the sudden increase in petrol across filling stations in the country. Details shortly. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. 8,000 naira palliative. Federal government robbing poor to pay the rich. NLC. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has faulted President Bola Tinubu's administration over the proposed 8,000 naira monthly cash palliative for 12 million Nigerian families in the space of 6 months, saying it was a ploy in robbing the poor to pay the rich. Recall that Tinubu last week wrote a letter to the National Assembly seeking approval for an $800 million loan to be disbursed to 12 million households in the portion of 8,000 naira each, designed to cushion the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy. Reacting to this palliative, NLC President Comrade Joe Ajaero, in a press release on Tuesday, said the federal government is already using dictatorship style to impoverish Nigerians. Ajaero further said the federal government did not consider the plight of the Nigerian workers before making the decision on the palliative. As it said, "We have restrained ourselves from making further comments publicly on the vexatious issues around the recent but unfortunate unilateral hike in the price of premium motor spirit (PMS) in the guise of the so-called subsidy withdrawal, which has unleashed, predictably as we had earlier warned, unimaginable and unprecedented hardship, sorrow, anguish, and suffering upon Nigerian workers and the masses. Our resolve is anchored on our strong and abiding faith in the outcomes of the processes of social dialogue and its mechanisms, especially within a democratic setting, which fortunately all the major stakeholders in the nation's socio-economic framework pleads to at this particular point in time, though some have demonstrably shown that it does not go deeper than the rhetoric. However, the government of Nigeria seems to have been misled into believing that resorting to impunity and imperiousness in governance in a democracy is a beneficial option as it pursues its stated and unstated objectives. It is this belief that we are sure has continued shaping the actions of this government since its inauguration on the 29th day of May 2023 to continue inflicting mindless and heartless pains on the populace, one after the other, without the decency of embracing the tenets of democracy, which requires wide and deep stakeholder consultation on weighty matters of the state. Nigerians would remember that the federal government had called for dialogue in the aftermath of its disastrous forlorn trajectory in the astronomical increase in petroleum product price and our subsequent call for a nationwide industrial action. We were also witnesses to the actions of the federal government in procuring an unholy injunction from the courts, which were served us in Gestapo style by trucks laden with fully armed soldiers and policemen. In all of these provocations, we remained committed to the principles of the rule of law, good conscience, and democracy, so that we can continue to be the moral compass for leaders in the public space. This explained our decision to suspend action on the proposed strike. Ajaero said, as it stands, rather than reciprocate the goodwill of Nigerian workers, the federal government has insisted on treading the path of dictatorship and seeking to impoverish the people further by taking steps that can only be described as robbing the people of Nigeria to pay and feed the rich. It is on this basis that the NLC strongly condemns the decision of the Tinubu-led administration to seek the approval of the National Assembly to obtain another tranche of external loans worth 500 billion naira from the World Bank for the purposes of carrying out a phantom palliative measure to cushion the effect of its poorly thought-out hike in the prices of premium motor spirits. Remember that the $800 million, which was already proposed before the devaluation of the naira by this government, was worth about 400 billion naira then, but is now worth about 650 billion naira after devaluation. It is from this it proposes to bring out 500 billion naira for distribution. The proposal to pay 8,000 naira to each of the so-called 12 million poorest Nigerian households for a period of 6 months insults our collective intelligence and makes a mockery of our patience and abiding faith in social dialogue, which the government may have alluded to, albeit pretentiously. The further proposal to pay National Assembly members the sum of 70 billion naira and the judiciary 36 billion naira is the most insensitive, reckless, and brazen diversion of our collective patrimony into the pockets of public officers whose sworn responsibility it is to protect our nation's treasury. We believe that this may amount to hush money and outright bribery of the other arms of government to acquiesce the aberration. It is unconscionable that a government that has foisted so much hardship on the people within nearly 2 months of coming into office will make a proposal that clearly rewards the rich in public office to the detriment of the poor. What this means all this while is that the government is seeking ways of robbing the very poor Nigerians so that the rich can become richer. There is no other way to explain the proposal to pay a misery sum of 8,000 naira to each of the mysterious poorest 12 million households for 6 months, which amounts to 48,000 naira, and pay just 469 national legislators 70 billion naira, or about 149 million naira each, while the judiciary that has about 72 appeal court judges, 33 national industrial court judges, 75 federal high court judges, and 21 Supreme Court judges, and a total of about 201 judges receives a total of 35 billion naira, or 174 million naira each. If these other two arms are projected to receive this, what members of the Executive Council will receive is better left to the imagination of Nigerians, perhaps. The balance of 150 billion naira will go to them. These proposals are not just unacceptable to Nigerian workers, but are also dictatorial and thus undemocratic. As a result, if the government does not want to stop these fortuitous actions that it is pursuing in the name of palliatives, we will be forced to constructively review our engagement with the government on this vexatious issue and take matters into our own hands. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time.